amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are connecting from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remain blessed.
Some years back, he will be joining us very shortly. Well, gentlemen, let's begin. First, quickly, let's have your take or your views on events of this outgoing week. There have been monumental events that have taken place this outgoing week. The Kuje jailbreak or Kuje jail attack, as is being referred to, and the escape of hundreds of inmates, dangerous terrorist inmates who escaped from that prison, and of course the bandit attack on the convoy of an advanced team of the president to Katsina State. Two events that of course seem to have shaken the fabric of our security system in the last couple of days. What's your take? What are your views on these two events first and foremost?
Well, no doubt we are facing enormous security challenges. When you see what is going on, it's very disappointing to see a series of attacks happening. And, the armed forces, the security agencies, they need to do more than what they are doing now. The time for urgency is now. They have to be more proactive instead of being reactive. Most of the time, the system here, we're always reactive instead of being proactive. We have to be able to catch them before they execute their plans. In the planning process, we should be able to know what is going on, and we should be able to stop it, to terminate whatever plans they have before the plans are executed. The incident at the Kuje prison is unacceptable in the sense that for such an attack to happen in such an institution, it's clear that there is gross deficiency in the system, gross failure in the system. So it's not just the issue of people in authority to be doing what I will refer to as eye service, making people believe they are doing what they are supposed to be doing. This now cannot be hidden from anybody. It's clear to the world that people who are supposed to be doing what they are doing, people who are supposed to be in charge of our security, they are not doing what they are supposed to be doing. It's obvious. It cannot be hidden anymore. For such an attack to happen in such an institution, prison, correctional center, for an elongated period like that, is scary. That means nobody is safe anywhere in this country. So the time for urgency is now. We have to start to take very proactive steps, prudent steps, to make sure that we are able to counter the threat before us. The threat before us is serious and it's no joke.
Yes, I was just going to ask you about that. How serious is the threat?
Well,
from what you have seen, from what you have observed.
Well, when you look at the security setup, I'm a security expert. As an officer in the United States, I have been operating my own security firm for more than 22 years in America. So most of my jobs are government contracts. you cannot be a government contractor if you don't know what you are doing. So our company here in Nigeria, we are looking at what we can do for the country. The threat before us is so big in the sense that nobody is safe. They can go anywhere. They have the capability. For these people to operate in a setting like Kuje prison, and they were there for several hours.
Over 2 hours.
Over 2 hours. And there was no counter attack. I mean, that is unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Mr. Nobori, just a few days ago, we were here and we were discussing the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding between Nigeria and the United Kingdom on the repatriation of what the UK government, the British government described as dangerous criminals back into Nigeria. And on that occasion, we're looking at the situation in Nigerian prisons. We're looking at the environment in Nigerian prisons, not knowing that this was going to happen just a few days after. Now, this is a correctional facility or a prison facility where, as it has turned out, many people may not have known this before, very many dangerous terrorist individuals were held, and yet it turns out that the security in that prison, that correctional service was not up to par.
Thank you very much, Imoni. There is no doubt that emotions are high, nerves are on end on the account of what the unfortunate attack on the Medium Security Custodial Center in Kuje. The only thing I want to say is that to make an appeal that we deploy our energy, resources, time more to focus on areas that we need to fill gaps, what we need to do to stop this unacceptable development, that is attack on custodial facilities. Now, to come directly to the question you asked. Yes, the MOU on migration returns was signed, if I can remember, on the 22nd of February this year. When the MOU was signed, it was with some conditions, which of course Nigeria Correctional Service has already met. The conditions in part of the things they wanted was to see upgrade in our facilities, to see what we have on ground with respect to reformation and rehabilitation of inmates in our custody. You are already aware that there is a concept to build 3,000 capacity ultramodern custodial centers in each of the 6 geopolitical zones across the country. We have that of Janguza in Kano, near 95% completion now. There is one ongoing in the Federal Capital Territory here in Karishi. Another one has taken off in Bori in River State, due to other 3 geopolitical zones. These are many other rehabilitation work that have been carried out in the existing custodial centers. And I want to quickly add that but for the unfortunate development in Kuje, the song in the Nigerian Correctional Service had already started on a positive note. We already started witnessing a paradigm shift from the custodial facilities we used to have in the past that many people regarded as punitive. You will recall that we have, it was revealed a couple of weeks back that over 1,004 inmates are currently undergoing their various degree programs in the custodial centers, and 6 of them are doing their PhD program. We are not talking about the sundry trades that the inmates are exposed to. all these programs are directed at rehabilitating the offenders that are kept in custody with a view to returning them to society as normal human beings. So it is unfortunate that this incident happened, and which appears to cast a veil on the progress that the service is making. And let us not also forget that is a huge security challenge that is facing the entire country. So that's why I started by saying that I made an appeal that we should concentrate more of our energy and time to evolving strategies to stopping the general security challenges that are plaguing the nation as a whole.
As part of the changes that are taking place in the correctional service, for instance, shouldn't there be a difference between persons who are kept in detention for correctional purposes and those who are in prison serving terms for criminal activities? Because in the case of Kuje prison, for example, it's become very apparent now that we kept both those who were there for civil offenses and those who are even awaiting for terrorist activities.
Yes.
We kept all of them in the same facility. Shouldn't there be a difference?
Yes, I will respond to that by saying, number one, we all know that we have infrastructure gap. Then number two, those that are awaiting trial, they constitute close to 72% of the inmates you have in that facility. And this is the same picture you have across the country. And we have never ceased to appeal to relevant authorities to step up trial processes. And the interesting thing, apart from the Kuje incident, most of the states across the considered center we have in other states, the offenders, about more than 90% of them are committed state offenses, which presupposes that you needed the instrumentalities of the state to prosecute those that are there awaiting trial. But we still don't seem to have some of these things working the way we want. Okay, look at 2019. The Nigerian Correctional Service Act was, came on board. As part of the provisions in that act, we have trial process, provisions to expedite trial process of those that are detained awaiting trial. We have provisions for those that have stayed as content inmates and have tried all their all the available windows up to Supreme Court and they cannot succeed. Instead of leaving them there interminably, dying every day waiting for the hangman. So we now have a provision there that gives express approval for state judge to commute the death sentence of such a person that has spent over 10 years awaiting hangman to life imprisonment. But I ask you, how many state judges have done that? We have a provision that involves non-custodial punishment for minor infractions, because we also discovered that traffic of offense, minor squabbles, they all ended up behind bars. The provision has also captured non-custodial sentencing, in which case you can sentence such a person to community service that would not necessarily, the person will be useful to himself, useful to his family, and useful to the community, because you have violated the laws of the land. So instead of being kept and wasting government money, go to the street, be of use to the community, and then also help your family. And you would not be part of those that will be congesting the facility. How many of state instruments are doing that? And let us also ask ourselves, the act was enacted in 2019. Up to date, I don't know, as at the time I left the office, I doubt if there was no dime released to the service to actualize the provisions of that act. I don't know what the situation will be now. Also, these gaps, if we have a system, for instance, the Kuje incident, if we have a system that that will enable the correctional service to have a separate infrastructure dedicated to high caliber offenders, whether they are trial or convicted.
Isn't that why they have maximum and minimum correctional centers?
I was just coming to that. Now, I told you that we have a concept now that involves constructing 3,000 ultra-modern capacity custodial centers in the country. Now, we have a new sheriff in town. That is banditry. I would have expected that the required urgency will be given to construction of this infrastructure. The one in Karishi is ongoing, but the pace does not seem to align with the security situation we have on ground. So we need to deliberately do certain things to respond to current security challenges. So
okay. Well, we have now been joined by Major General Henry Ayola, retired Major General, former Commander, Special Task Force, Operation Safe Haven. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
From the reports we have heard from the prison attack in Kuje, well over 60. In fact, the Minister of Defense says over 64 hardened criminals, bandits and terrorists escaped from that facility. Amongst the over 800 plus inmates that escaped from that facility, there are at least over 60 of them who were in detention. Some of them just moved from Shiroro into Kuje for terrorist activities, for very hardened criminal activities and all of that. How much threat does that pose to the civil populace and to our entire security architecture?
Well, thank you very much. Listening to the spokesperson of the service
former spokesperson.
Former spokesperson,
yes.
Okay. I begin to have some kind of empathy with the service, in terms of the kind of priority they should have enjoyed. But coming specifically to your question, I think it's evident that we are dealing with a very bad situation. I mean, knowing the nature of the people that escaped and the purpose for even releasing them, that's where our worry should start from. I mean, it portends so much danger. In fact, beyond danger is that there must be a reason why now. I mean, they didn't get there yesterday, or they didn't get there a day before the attack. So it tells you there must be something in the offing why it is now they are attacking the place to release their members. And I mean, I can extrapolate from that and say, well, maybe they have an impending operation that requires a boost of their size, of their strength, of their force, and hence they think this is the time to do it. Well, that should put all the entire security sector on a high alert and begin to do some preemptive things, take some preemptive measures, which also should have been taken, before now, even before this happened. I've always spoken about having a system of systems. This incident brings to the fore several relevant questions we should be asking ourselves. Okay, I mean, talking about the service is just somewhere in the chain. But starting from the grand strategic level, to the National Security Council, which of course the Minister of Interior is a member, and to interministerial committees that should exist, that should combine the relevant security sectors, ministries, departments, and agencies, to play that interrelated and overlapping roles. That has never been. We've never had this kind of interministerial, interagency, standing statutory committees. Because what touches the correctional service, touches immigration, touches the armed forces, touches the police, touches the civil defense. Is there any such existing committee? No. So when we expect some miracles when incidents happen, I begin to wonder, what kind of person are we? We've not put structures, statutory structure, things that should enable us to be able to respond appropriately and decisively to issues. And then we're expecting the response. From where? Who and where? Do we have a response plan that have been rehearsed by all the agencies that are involved before. So what we expect, that on the day of calamity, then you expect from nowhere something will just spring off? No, that's not how it happens. So this gives us a good opportunity to put this kind of interministerial, interagencies, committees in place. Let them come up with a solid response plan, a contingency plan that will be rehearsed on a regular basis, so that when things like this happen, there is already a drill, some standard operating procedures which all the relevant agencies have practiced together, and they can spring it up and make it happen. That's how it works.
So when you talk about this kind of synergy, because that's what I see what you're talking about. What is the office of the National Security Advisor supposed to be doing? Is it not supposed to be aggregating all of these things, bringing all these services together, all the ministries and all the agencies of government that are related to national security, and forging a united front?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question. That again comes down to your systems. What did we craft as our security architecture? What is in the system? What is in the structure? Right from the policy level to the strategy level, to the processes and procedures and standard operating procedures, to the checklists and routines and drills. For example, if I ask the question, in that correctional facility, when last did they carry out their routine procedures of counter attack of this nature? Was there a standard operating procedure practiced that evening before the night? Was there a stand down or stand up security alert practice that was done? The structure that ought to be there, the CCTV, the counters, signal intelligence, communication intelligence, the structure itself. Do we have a national template of what a medium security correctional center should have in terms of civil structure, in terms of communication, in terms of CCTV, in terms of command control, communication, computer intelligence, surveillance and reconnaissance system? Do we have? So when we don't put these things in place and we're expecting the men to do some wonder, I begin to wonder, where is our thinking arising from? We don't have these things in place, and then you expect the day of adversity, some magic will just happen or some miracle will just happen. No, it doesn't work like that anywhere.
Now, Mr. Mafidon, the president, when he visited Kuje, did lament what he referred to, or his disappointment about the intelligence system, the intelligence network. And some of the security organizations have come out to say, look, we provided intelligence about this before it happened, and probably was not taken seriously. There was no synergy between all the services, as the general has put it. That may have been responsible for this. This is a failure of intelligence or the inability to operationalize intelligence.
Well, I will attribute the incident to all of the above you just said, in the sense that if I carry out a kind of intelligence work and write my recommendations as to how to counter what is coming, at the same time, I might not be in a position to properly monitor the other arms of operational system if they have implemented what I recommended. In most cases, people don't do their work. What I mean people don't do their work, they don't just do their work. In this country, it's unfortunate that we don't love our country as such. If you love your country, there are many things you can do for your country without expecting any compensation. It's unfortunate that people are always looking for the material gain to do their work, the work that they are already receiving salary for. When I was in the service in the United States as an officer, when we get distress call, everybody is happy to respond. Everybody wants to be a hero. We want to go there. Let's go out there and catch the criminals. That is the response. And again, when we say people don't do their work, are these people well compensated by their salary, by their benefits? That's not the reason for them not to do their work. If you are not happy with the conditions of services, you can resign and let people who are willing to accept the conditions of that services to do the work.
Well, good compensation could be a moral boost to doing the job well.
All moral boosting, welfare package, and other things. See, if you're a police officer or a serving military officer die in the course of their service, you don't have to go back and be begging. The family of the officer don't have to go and be begging the authority that is responsible for compensation to promptly implement the compensation that that family is due to receive. It's supposed to be done promptly. So when somebody dies in the course of their duty, and I see that my co-worker, the way he or she was treated by the government that this person have served, that kills the morale of the personnel to go out there and put their head on the line. So the government need to do more, and the people need to do more. See, so when you take a very prudent look at the whole system, it's a complete failure, complete picture of a total despondency.
Mr. Anobari, from what we have heard and seen so far, all those who have visited Kuje, for instance, have come up with tales of war, of a poor security network, no CCTV, no this, no that, the towers were not manned, and all manner of things. And we have not been told in all the stories that have gone around whether of any form of resistance to that invasion by people who came in their tents and riding on motorbikes. They passed through communities to get to that place. There was no alarm bell raised at any point in time. There was no response for over 2 hours that they operated. Now, how did that come to be? Is it that there was security lacks in the facility, or that those who were on duty were overwhelmed by the sheer numbers of these terrorists who invaded the facility?
Thank you once again. It's been said that just like the officer Adazek has rightly posited, that way back there, as a police officer serving in the United States, that if they get a distress call, people are eager to respond. That of course is a product of the level of preparedness, the equipment you are given, and all of that motivation. Then let's talk about the incident that happened in Kuje. Like I said the other day, these people did not. We are not talking about 2 or 3 people coming around to harass a facility. We are talking about people that came in their hundreds. They passed through villages. They procured logistics. There probably would have been discussions. There will be suspicion.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We'll kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you and remain blessed. Bye-bye. See you again.